All right, Derek, thanks a lot. And Money Tuesday, taking a look at the opportunities you may find in the year ahead, from the stock market to housing. Financial planner Stewart Welch joins us this morning to talk a little bit about those opportunities in 2011. It's good to see you.
Good morning.
Okay,
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. This is a conversation we didn't necessarily have going into 09 and going into 10 as well, because it was still a lot of question marks. But it's fair to say it's generally upbeat out there when you talk about the economy going into a new year?
You do. This is, it's kind of a change. It's, you find yourself in unfamiliar ground. Yeah, it is. Everybody's, when you talk to the economists and the analysts, they're all upbeat. I think the stars have finally lined up, Rick.
At least on the in the immediate situation. Let's talk stocks right now. Lots of folks out there are very bullish about this stock market for this year. Why so?
They are. Well, I think what's happened is the corporations have used this as an opportunity to really lean down their organizations. They've gotten rid of a lot of expenses. They've stored up a lot of cash, and they're in very good shape. So a little bit of revenue is going to hit their bottom line very quickly. So I think you're going to see good profits in the corporations.
Okay.
It's a good place to be.
Okay, so the opportunity for you is to kind of start eyeballing those stocks and see what you want to do and what your strategy is.
I think review your portfolio, and a lot of people had moved toward bonds over the last couple of years because the stock market had been so tough. Now's the time maybe to take a fresh look at it and say, should I add more stocks to my portfolio?
Okay, let's jump over to those bonds that you mentioned. The bond market is the one that's all of a sudden folks are getting a little jittery about the situation out there, in particular with muni bonds, right?
With good cause. I think that you've had a bull market in bonds, and I believe the bull market in bonds is basically over. And there are two main risks. The risk of rising rates long term, which will depress bond. If you own a bond fund, it's going to cause those values to drop. And there's specifically risks related to munis. So you look at states like Illinois and California, they have major problems that is going to require some kind of action, some kind of bailout or something. And then municipalities across America, many of those municipalities are in trouble. So in the
good example with Jefferson County, would that fall?
Jefferson County would be a good example. Yeah. And so you've got to be really careful with your with the munis. You need to, if you're owning munis, you need to take a look at them. If you're owning bond funds, we would recommend that you begin to shorten the maturities. Look for bond funds that are have an average maturity of 5 years or less, maybe even 3 years or less.
Okay, so let's talk now about something we really haven't talked about a whole lot in the last few years, especially with what the Fed's doing. Inflation. What's the forecast out there for inflation?
Inflation, the government with the quantitative easing, all the money they pumped into the system, you're going to have inflation. The question is, what's it going to look like in 2011? I think that we will begin to see it at the gas pump and at the grocery store, but I don't think you're going to have runaway inflation yet, and that's just not going to happen until you begin to have more reemployment.
Okay, quickly, let's talk about housing, as we promised on that. Housing market, are we seeing improvements here?
I think you'll see the turn this year. So that's going to be a multi-year solution to the housing problem because of so much oversupply. It is, however, a great opportunity to buy. There's still great deals. I think that you're going to see that housing market begin to turn this year, and if you want to buy a house, this would be a great year to do it.
Okay, so that really benefits first-time home buyers out there who may not be having to dump their own house before they buy.
Or if you have a house, maybe you're one of those lucky ones able to sell it for what you're looking for.
Okay, Stewart Welch, always good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Rick.
Let's talk more